All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Excuse me. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect in the 1/3, and honor and Ratazah. This lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. And may Yahweh Shem Shai Shalak Kodash Al Awathia. And this lesson just be edifying, exhorting, just going for a walk. And, a lot of times we're blessed for the Lord to put in our spirit to want to speak and speak about truth, speak about, the Lord's will. And that's the real reality, And of course, I don't have no scriptures with me, but, there's a lot of scriptures that run through our head and our minds. And I also notice as of late, you really only need about 2, 3, 4 scriptures. And, that's the lesson, man. But what I want to say was, as I was walking, the thought came to my mind of, it's normal until it ain't, because I'm walking down the street, working on my health, my digestion, your mental health, and keeping a clear head. And as you look around and analyze and observe, pretty much reading the room everywhere you go, it's business as usual, and it's also normal until it ain't. You look around and people are just fussing, living their lives, thinking about next week. That's why in the book of James, the 4th chapter, it speaks about, tell this to them that say we're going to go here, we're going to go there, and you're supposed to say to those people that, all that kind of rejoicing is evil. That's actually a evil mindset, when you think about it. But when you look out into the distance and you watch how people operate, you hear people in the background. It's almost like that Sarah Connor. It's almost like that Sarah Connor scene in Judgment Day, where she was at the park and you heard children playing, and then all far off in the distance was that, that light in the sky, which was that missile, which was Judgment Day, and that's where we're at in this walk right now. Is we're processing everything. Let me get my camera together here. All right, processing everything, watching how people process their everyday living. And this is how prophecy is going to take place upon Babylon. It's going to be business as usual. It's going to be people thinking that their plans are going to still be in effect, or shall I say their plans, they don't think they will be affected. And that's why it says that the Lord will come as a thief in the night to these people. We are immensely blessed. We're immensely blessed to be up. And it's not that we're waiting for the thief. We're actually waiting for the bridegroom. Because when you go into Matthew 25, it speaks about that bridegroom. At night, there was a cry made. Okay. So a bridegroom to us and a thief to them. Because what does a thief do? It takes. And what's going to be taken from these people? Their rulership, their authority, their power, their makeshift dreams, their vanity. Things are getting ready to be stripped from these people. And these people are greedy. And the way these people operate, the way they carry themselves, they don't want this taken from them. All in the midst of you catching hell. They don't want this taken from them. But this is what it's all about, man. And now we're starting to see the faces that people made when they felt that first raindrop. I had wanted to do a video earlier, and I wanted to title it, "This is the face you make when you feel the first drops of rain." And that's what's getting ready to happen. These people are about to have their parade rained upon, which you just had that proud parade canceled, okay? And that's from Yahweh Bashem Shai. And are people actually acknowledging that? Are these people actually thinking about that? Are they actually putting their mind to the Lord? No, because one, the Lord has a chosen people, and two, even within being the chosen people, not all of the Lord's people is set up to, reverence him, think upon him, be obedient to him, and ultimately fear him. One thing that's been heavy on my mind lately as I've been processing the actions of others is a lot of these actions that take place from individuals is because it's a lack of fear. That's what you see. You see a lack of fear. This is why adultery's at an all-time high, disrespect's at an all-time high, children being disobedient to their parents, okay? You just see it across the board with the creature. And that's because there's a lack of fear of the Father on earth. And everything is geared around, woman worship, and that's Queen of Heaven. And that's completely contrary to the conception of being a servant to the Father, all right? And you see that even within a household where the mother will turn the children against the father. And then you have Esau, the serpent, who's been able to construct a system based off confusion to enable that disobedient to the Father so that empowerment can go to the weaker vessel, i.e. the woman. And when you put that together in a world of business and confusion and, Satan and demons, man, that's a bad combination. And that's pretty much what we're dealing with right now is a bad combination of rulership, a bad jumbo of iniquity is being put upon our plate that's about to get flipped. It's about to get flipped, man. And that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting for the Father to return. They're waiting for the Heavenly Father to send our Father, Yahweh Shai, the Prince of Peace, to return to restore order on earth, okay? And you got a lot of things taking place, but when you look around about you, depending on where you're at in Babylon, if you are in Babylon, you'll notice it. Like I'm walking down the street, and as I'm walking down the street, people aren't acting like this is the end because they're not set up to know this is the end. I was listening to the elders from Boston going in, and they were making beautiful points. And pretty much people aren't looking at what's going on with Amalek and Persia on a high scale that like we are, as they say, biblical proportions. And that's this is what's happening, man. It's like somebody's experiencing bad weather, but they're not thinking that weather is going to ultimately destroy them, but that weather is. And that then they're not going to be able to weather the storm, all right? And it also says, speaking on weather, that the Lord will visit the earth in that fashion too, and then Esau's even referred to as a flood. So everything from here is just increasing. And, if you have not been blessed with the eye salve to see, to process, to understand what's taking place, then you're going to get caught up. You're going to get caught up in your emotions. You're going to get caught up with the rest of these humans. You're going to be caught up with confusion, and you're going to be taken out, man. Now is not the time to listen to what man's opinion based off emotion is while processing the will of the Lord. We're witnessing the will of Yahweh Bashem El Shai take place, man. We're truly witnessing Yahweh Bashem El Shai's will taking place. And it's powerful to see everyone acting like it's just another day. Not that we didn't know, but a lot of times in this walk, certain things like that, they're more powerful. When you see what it's one thing to know, but when you see what and then you have the answers given to you, that changes things, man. That's why it says a man is saved by hope. So it's another thing to be hoping, but to see what you've been hoping for come to pass, that's monumental to me. That's extremely monumental. And, this is just a prophetic exhortation while I'm out on a walk, while I got some downtime. And, and this is another thing too, that we have to continue to just keep fighting. Okay. That fight that you've been fighting, you just got to keep fighting, keep doing them lessons. Keep studying. I'm always praying to read more and study more, like the first love, going back through the scriptures, even the scriptures that we know, rereading them, even going through scriptures that pertain to the time period that you're in. Okay, those things are vital right now. But, I just wanted to do a prophetic exhortation because no one else is out here talking to us, telling us, what kind of mindset we should have, what kind of thought process we should be keeping, You know, what should we be thinking? How should we be thinking? How should we analyze this? What should I be doing? Because everywhere else is just emotion. Okay, when you look everywhere else, everybody is just in an emotional rant. Everybody's in an emotional, overstimulated, opinionated rant. And it's not going to give you stability in the time to come, because even those people that have the, the gift of gab, that want to talk, that want to say, they're not going to be able to withstand what's coming. They're not going to debate their way out of this, okay? So, what you got is what you're supposed to have right now, and what you have is what you're supposed to hold on to. So just hold on to it, man, okay? Hold on and, just be better in the spirit you were than yesterday. And that's it, man. And just know today is another day closer to the kingdom. All right. So I just wanted to do a quick prophetic exhortation. And hey, with that being said, I just want to say, call law, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect. With that being said, shalom.